This video will provide tips for selecting a file during the General Supervision File Review process. This is an opportunity for you to demonstrate your district's highest quality work. We hope this video provides you with guidance to do just that. There are 3 file types required as part of your file review. First, you will submit a general file. This is often a student in elementary or middle school who falls under any of the 15 disability categories. Second, you will submit one secondary file. This file must include an IEP with the required components of a transition plan and documentation of the student's participation within that process. Lastly, you will submit an early childhood file. This file must demonstrate the team's consideration and review of all 3 early childhood outcome areas. It is important that you select a file that reflects the best and highest quality work completed within your district. It is also important that we are reviewing current documents. When selecting your file, avoid those that will require a reevaluation or annual review between November 30th and February 28th. Selecting a file that expires within these dates will require an additional review of the new documents, which can slow down the review time, and it can also lead to additional corrections within that new document that need to be made. If at all possible, avoid submitting documents within this time frame. Before submitting your file, it is important you do a self-review. It is a good idea to use the GSFR checklist to do this, as it correlates to the compliance tracking tool where you will submit your review and report your findings. After completing your self-review, if all components on the checklist are marked yes, this is likely a good file to submit. It is also important to verify that all required documents are present. There are some considerations you might make when selecting your best file. First, consider selecting a file which has been done within your own district. We so often have students move from one place to another. Documents can be lost in transit, which will lead to additional requirements during your file review. Plus, submitting documents that have been completed within your district provides you with the opportunity to showcase your district's best work. The file you submit should be for a student who is currently enrolled in school and receiving special education services. This file needs to reflect the IEP team's most current decisions for that student. Idaho SESTA provides a variety of trainings that cover components of the special education process. You might consider choosing a file that was completed by team members who have attended trainings that covered components of high-quality eligibilities and IEPs. The Idaho State Department of Education will have the current GSFR checklist and directions document available for you to use when completing a self-review. The directions document covers points to consider under each part of the checklist and resources to explain each of those components if needed. As you complete your self-review, if you come across a component that is checked no, that needs to be corrected. At this point, you can submit a different file or submit this file after making the correction. Remember, this is an opportunity to showcase your district's highest quality, best work. As stated before, if a document is missing from the file, do not submit it. The required documents include the consent for assessment and/or written notice explaining the assessment plan, the eligibility report, and the IEP. There are also may be additional requirements for the secondary and early childhood files. As you complete your file selection and self-review, we want you to remember specific learning disability files are not required. There was some confusion regarding this last year. Districts are only required to submit one general file, one secondary file, and one early childhood file. Also remember that this is not a training opportunity for teachers. Submission of your 3 files is an opportunity to showcase your district's highest quality work. Using GSFR as a training opportunity will not do that. As you complete this process, you are not alone. We are here to help. The Idaho State Department of Education will provide the current checklist and resource documents on their website. Go to www.sde.idaho.gov/sped/program-monitoring. Idaho SESTA is also here to help. Please contact your instructional coordinator with any questions you might have through this process. We are happy to provide guidance as you select and review each file. If you need more information on what Idaho SESTA has to offer, go to www.idahosesta.org. Idaho SESTA stores previous trainings, webinars, and example documents on the Idaho Training Clearinghouse. These resources might be helpful as you're completing the self-review on each file, then supporting teachers and making any needed corrections. The website address for Idaho Training Clearinghouse is www.idahotc.com. Remember, we are here to support you and look forward to working with you this year through the GSFR process.